You got to do a middle school reunion.
Yes, I have a CD burn. My song from the album. I'm trying to get the DJ to play it at the event tonight. I got one song. Look,
I said no. And you need a fucking
no. This is our house.
Matter of fact, take the shit.
Yo, how the fuck did we get kicked out of a middle school reunion?
All right, just pay the bill, Justin.
I ain't got it, man. I'm sorry. I'll catch y'all next time.
I lost my wallet, G. I think I left it back there when we fight. Hey, Marvin, you think we got a...
Yeah, Marvin, your business that just going on. You should be able to pay a $50 bill.
I lied.
I knew it.
My mama bought me this suit.
Don't know why I got no money to pay this shit.
Hold on, sir. I didn't see you pay the bill.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is actually an interesting concept, you know what I'm saying? I thought it was unique. These guys end up reuniting after some time. They end up at a restaurant. Nobody got the money to pay the bill. They was like, you know what, we just put a dip on them like the old days. And then it just becomes a thing. And, they were like, you know what, I felt like I'm living my best life. Reminds us of older. Let's just keep doing it. I'm like, damn, this is the movie? Okay, then. This is...
Yo, I never knew that that's what the movie was about. Like, when I'm watching this, I'm going, what exactly is going on? Like, oh,
right.
I was like, this is insane. And I was like, all right, the middle school class reunion, I went on set that day to meet up with Tim Trees, which is the guy with the bomber 8 jacket. I mean,
okay,
the
8 ball jacket. Yeah.
Like, that's one of my OGs. Like, yo, like he's a legend in Baltimore. That's crazy. Like, he's got like one of the biggest records in Baltimore of all time. Like, you know what I mean? He is a straight legend. So I was there linking up with him to kind of like, you know what I'm saying, do some work with him and stuff. And like I was like seeing what was going on, but I didn't think it was going to turn out like that. So right. Like, all right, I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole. I know we got a structure, but yeah, wow. That's all I can say. Wow.
So then let me give you back to the structure. Initial impression.
All right. So the initial impression was I wanted to see the rollout when they did the red carpet because, like, first of all, Desi, I'm a huge Desi fan. He's the lead actor, light skinned guy, tall. He's a stand-up comedian. He actually tours with Jess Hilarious all the time. So, like, you know what I mean? Super funny guy. He actually won an award at our award ceremony for best actor in Baltimore City. So, like, shout out to him for that. So, like, I knew him. Like, I knew, you know what I'm saying, Tim Trees, that's my OG. I mean, there's so many people. I know the cameraman. I know, like, there's so many people I'm seeing in the background. Like, yo, I know that nigga. Oh my God. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, this film is full of, like, family. And I'm just like, I wanted to see it when it came out on the red carpet. So when I didn't get to see it, I was like, when they released it on Tubi, I was like, man, that's cool. The only thing I would say is I would have loved to have had the opportunity to buy it and own it. So, like, if they could have gotten it on, Apple Music or not Apple Music, but like, Apple TV or Google Play Television, I would have liked that opportunity to buy it. And I'm not trying to put that as a knock on them because I know it's hard to sometimes get distribution, but like, I really wanted to find a way to support this monetarily in some kind of way. You know what I mean? Because visually it looks good.
Absolutely. So when you sent it to me, I don't like watching trailers, so I was just like, you know what, I'm in. And then when you was like,
you didn't
I didn't watch the trailer at all, so I couldn't even have an initial impression. I just thought you was like, yo, this is a Baltimore joint, and I was like, okay, I'm in, let's do it. And so that was my initial impression.
Let's do it.
yeah. So I know you got a lot to say though, so I'm gonna go ahead and get mine out of the way. You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. So highs and lows for me. Of course, highs, it looked good. And also there was moments where it actually made me laugh out loud. There was some stuff that there was some things about it where I wasn't really sure, like, where it was going at first because I didn't see the trailer. So when it finally got to the point like, oh, this is about to be this recurring thing, I was even more amused. Like the concept, in my opinion, is just so original.
Right.
So I got a little excited about it. So that was half of me. I mean, we about to just keep going to every single restaurant we can and just ditch and just eat as much as we can, run up a bill, and just find a clever way to get out. So I love that. I love the whole process with that. Now, and then the fact that it was a low budget film, but they were using they had locations. You know what I'm saying? They're able to get into the restaurants. I was respecting it from a creative standpoint. I was like, yeah, they're getting into these venues. They actually had some decent acting going on. You know what I'm saying? The comedy was, like I said, there was a few moments where I laughed out loud. But then when I had to get into my lows, one of the biggest things with this concept, as original as it was, as much as I loved it, I would have loved to have more of like, and I know this is me probably asking for too much, but I wanted a little bit more elaborate ways each time that they ran out on the check. I didn't really want just a montage showing food and then showing them duck out. I was looking forward to the creativity of how they was gonna BS their way out of every scenario. I wanted it to always go left, and then they had to be creative to get out of the situation. I thought that would have made for a stronger project. It would have hit me hard. It would have made me laugh more, because as you saw, if there was a couple of scenes where things went left and they had to be creative, but I really wanted that to happen every single time, and I just felt like that just would have strengthened it. Another one of my my lows, and this is just me nitpicking. Some of the things, the scenes where they were trying to really draw some comedy out, it felt like they kind of ran too long. Some of those people were not as funny as your boy Desi, you know what I'm saying? And so they didn't need as much screen time. And it was kind of taking me out of it, not trying to spoil too much, but like the boss of the security guard, you know what I'm saying? That scene could have been a lot shorter. He was kind of taking me out of it. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
Right. I was like, okay, let's go get it. And then just little things that wasn't thought about in the writing, like, there's a situation where somebody's pretending to be a waiter. I'm not going to say too much, but the original waiter never showed up, came back, and I was like, how is all of this going down? Like, is this motherfucker not working? But but it also made me laugh as well. So it's not really a low, but it did kind of take me out of it a little bit. But that's really it for me, because I really the concept itself I thought was great, and honestly I feel like we could get another one. I just want it to be more like Ocean's 11 on how you ditch on the check. You know what I'm saying? But that's all I got.
Yo, first of all, yo, you be. That's why I fuck with you, yo. That's why you my man. Like, you be thinking stuff that I didn't even think about. I wasn't even think, yo, like, because the first, and I'm not trying to give away too much neither, but
right.
Yo, the first official like ditch and dash they did, that was super creative, and I was like, oh, crazy! Like I was like, yo, this is dope. So yeah. They did kind of set up an expectation that, you know what I'm saying, every scene would have its own little, setup and breakdown and all of that. So yeah, I definitely agree. It didn't affect, I wasn't disappointed, but now that I hear you say that, I'm like, yo, that would have made the story more interesting, you know what I'm saying, versus them taking the direction they did, which wasn't bad, you know what I mean?
Right.
I am honored and excited to put my, you know what I'm saying, let's talk about Tubi. You know what I'm saying? If you are a fan of this show, we talk about a lot of Tubi films, and with independent films come independent problems that are common that I call Tubi problems. Let's get to it.
Tubi, oh Tubi.
Oh, Tubi. Oh, Tubi.
Yo, these are our most common pros. You're gonna get some booty, you're gonna get some wild sex scenes, you're gonna get some wild, crazy dialogue, over the top characters, and a bunch of other questionable stuff that randomly happens in every movie. The cons: too many scenes go too long, horrible acting, too much gangster, not enough story, zero character development, and sound be trash. What I will say is that this movie avoids 95% of that shit on the list. And
Right.
yo, shout out to them niggas for that. I
Word.
was mind blown. So mind blown. The only two things that I would say fall squarely with on this list is the sound. There are times when the music is just a little too loud and it's hard for me to hear what they're saying. And I'm like in the house, like jacking the volume up, and it's like, 12 o'clock at night, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, this is a little wild. And then the music wasn't that dope that it needed to go over the other stuff. Now, the original Baltimore music definitely made it loud. That's cool. I love those records. But like the random do 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 do. Like, we ain't need to have that stuff that loud. You could have just brought that down and then brought the vocals out a little bit more. So yeah, I mean that visual production, I mean the audio landscape and all that was just a little off, but I'm surprised that there were sound effects. You can hear people, they had punch sounds and all of that. So like, I'm super surprised about that. So I'm not trying to dog them out about this. Also, yeah, we could have done with some better character development. I'm not saying that they didn't have character development. They did, but I just felt like it could have been done a little bit better. I know what they were trying. I know what the writer and the director was trying to do was, let me tell you the story about the characters as you see them go along. So you get to understand them when they're in their individual lives, doing their individual things. But I felt like it just wasn't strong enough. And sometimes it just wasted scenes, you know what I mean? But it was still cool. Like that was still a few moments of chuckling. Like when the nigga punched the dog, that shit caught me off guard. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, nigga, what? I died laughing. But other than that, they avoided everything else. Like, I love the fact that this wasn't a gangster street. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm literally was waiting, like, all right, when they gonna start pulling out the guns? Like when the cocaine dealer or the big time drug dealer gonna? And I was like, oh snap! So they didn't go that right. Yo, the characters are regular people living regular lives, and all are suffering and just dealing with I'm not gonna say they were suffering, but they were all dealing with, regular everyday problems. I love that. I love that each character had their own unique personality, that they, what I'm saying? They were cool, they were funny, but they weren't over the top or they weren't under. I am super amazed that everybody performed on this joint. I'm so impressed. Like, I was so impressed. I'm like, I don't remember Tim Trees ever doing any movies. I think that was like his first movie, and he's fucking good. Like, he's good. Like, so shout out to the director or whoever was coaching everybody to make sure they really put the time in to make sure everybody gave great performances. You know what I mean? I also love the way it was shot. Like I said, I was there for different scenes while they were shooting different stuff, and I'm like, this ain't look like what I saw. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I don't want to say that the locations they used were trash, but they weren't like the sexiest places in the world. But the way he shot it and the way he put all of the people together, like, I can tell you, in that club scene, it wasn't that many people in there. But the way they utilized all of the people, it gave you this perfect, like, it looked packed. The club looked packed. It looked like it was a lot going on. And I was like, yo, they killed that. Like, I just like that. I like that. I liked everybody's outfits. That, you know what I mean? The way they never changed different things. Like, you know what I mean? All right. So let me see. What other highs do I want to say before I start? Before I get myself on a hit list? The Baltimore niggas is just sensitive. So as soon as I start saying shit that I don't like about this motherfucker, they're gonna have me killed for real. All right, let me see what Iris is saying. Okay, all right, cool. All right, she's not saying. Okay. I just want to make sure she ain't throwing something out there. But no, other than that, yo, I love that the scenes didn't go on too long. Super surprising to me, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 scenes that might have just a smidge where you started to feel it. Most of the time, they get in, they get out, they cut to stuff, which is another thing that super impressed me. Yo, there were times when I'm really thinking I'm like, all right, here we go. You about to go too far in the scene, and they'll cut. Or like some crazy stuff happens, and they just cut to the next scene, or they don't. Which is another problem. Sometimes in independent films, they try to over-explain shit.
Over-explain
nothing in this joint. Like, it's just like, nigga, is we doing this or what? Let's go. Like, and it's boom. And they don't try to like give some elaborate plan, which in listening to you saying it would have come out better with a little bit of Ocean's 11 planning, but I feel like if you ain't got the actors to really pull it off, or hey, this might be the first time you're doing something like this, and you're trying to mix the comedy with, you know, and just some funny stuff. I mean, with just good storytelling, I know it's kind of hard. The last high I'm gonna say is, I love the fact that this is like, I hate to say this because this is not a Caucasian thing, but I love it when I get to see a regular story in a regular world. You know, it's not some super gangster thing. It's like these people, this is a telling, they're not saving the world. You know, it's not some child about to die and we've got to do this because Timmy, you know what I mean? Or it's not, you know, some like, even with it being comedy, it's not, they're not bumbling buffoons or niggas are super in the hood and broke and sitting on the corner like, yeah, B, you know, when we get out of the hood, it's gonna be like, it was funny. It was normal funny. You know what I mean? It's like we all lower middle class. Niggas got jobs, you know what I'm saying? But we still want to go out. We still want to have a good time. Like I felt connected to that, you know, as a guy that's like, all right, I'm older. Yes, I still like to go to nice restaurants, but I can't afford it. But there's a part of me in the back of my mind that goes, niggas, yes, let me call my homeboys. Like, you know what I'm saying? That was the only thing I was worrying about. Like, now get into our lows. Like, this movie inspires a lot of negative activity. God damn. I swear to God, I was thinking of different homeboys for every person on there. Like, yep, yeah, that's my nigga Pill. That's goddamn Will. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm about to call these niggas and we about to dine-and-dash on these motherfuckers. Like, you know, check please, bitch. So like, if I was to say it, I was gonna put that in the negative category, is that y'all inspiring me to do bad things. That's the first thing I don't like. You know what I'm saying? Because how dare y'all? The second thing, if I was to give any lows, is definitely going to go with the first guy at the very top of the film. Y'all gave him way too much leeway. He looked like the investor, like the nigga that gave up about 10, 15 grand. And he just needed to get his shit off at the top of the film. So if you put up a bunch of money, then you paid for that, right? But nigga, get the fuck off the screen. You know what I'm saying? Like, outside of that, some of your jokes was funny, but you could have got in, got out. It could have cut the little scene. I know this is meant to be a joke and I'm supposed to just roll with it, but I was like, I felt like it was a little too silly. And there's a lot of parts in the film that's just a little too silly that it kind of takes me out. Is middle school reunion. I get that it's a joke. Like, I kind of laughed, but I was just kind of like, this shit is stupid as fuck. You know what I mean? Yo, you can barely get niggas to come to high school class reunion in Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know who the fuck I went to middle school with. That's the part. Like,
wait, what?
Yeah, right. I was like, what the hell is going on here? So, lastly is certain storytelling elements just was like a little off here, or a little off there. A few little things that might have taken me out. And kind of was like, you know, just like kind of like, why do we do that? Or like certain jokes that didn't land, but they didn't land bad. You'd be like, wow, like, ugh, you know what I'm saying? You should have avoided that joke altogether. But I felt like you got them. I love the fact that they had a script, but they gave people opportunities to riff. And you can see that, you know, how they're going off page sometimes works. Right. Really works in some ways, and it doesn't work in the others. I love the fact that the ones that you know couldn't really freestyle like that, like they didn't, you know what I mean? But they still did a little something and it made it work. But you could kind of feel and I was about to say, like, they could have chopped it up a little bit more so that I wouldn't get too much of a sense of when they're freestyling and when they're not. But outside of that, I'm actually watching it to review it. If I was just watching this just to be on some like Saturday night and I found it on a run, you know, just on like, if I'm looking on a Saturday night on Tubi, which I would never do, but if I was, I would probably be super impressed by this film and I probably wouldn't have all these nitpicks. But as a reviewer and somebody that really watches, and I'm comparing this to like some of the greatest films of all time of its type, like, bro, it only has some small changes. And I already said everything as far as the sound, as far as like trimming down just a smidge here and there and tightening certain things up. But when you got a tight budget and you've got, if you're not from Baltimore, let me tell you something. A lot of these people that are the main characters in the film are real names out of Baltimore. Like the young lady, she is on a reality show on Zeus, and she's Krishan Rock's sister. So like that's her like older sister. She's also a musician. So she's got the music is up. She do numbers streaming wise, and she's doing television. I was surprised that she was even a part of this. You know what I mean? So like, plus it's crazy. She come out of a camp with my one of my OGs, man, one of my homeboys. So shout out to Greenlight. So like you got her. She's super busy. Desi is on tour all the time. You know what I mean? With Just Hilarious. He's a big name. You know, Tim Trees, huge artist out of Baltimore, huge musician, and was doing at the time, he was doing 2-3 shows a week paid. Like he was moving around and he was working on new music. And like when you see the Bombers around, that's his organic what do they call it? His organic leaf company. So like, you know what I'm saying? He's got his whole thing going on. So it's like, I'm surprised that you got them, you know, not only just got them on set, but you got them to focus and you got them to give such a great performance. You know what I mean? And then like there's either other people, shout out to the guy Logan, that's the homie, you know, the guy that walked into the house and they was like, who the fuck is you? Like, who the fuck is you, nigga? You know yeah, in the shower. He like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying?
They played him so heavy, man.
Yo, that shit was crazy. That was crazy. Yo, shout out to Logan. Yo, you played the fall guy really well. Like, you know what I'm saying? So other than that, that's all I have to say. It's time to get to the rating, sir. Are we okay with that, or did you want to throw out something else before we go?
No. Let's go ahead and rate this bad boy.
Let's go. All right. Is it a classic? Is it a good watch? Is it a catch on streaming? Is it not doing for me? Is it a oh hell no? Or if you ever show me this ever again, I will. You and sir.
I'm gonna have to give it a catch on stream, and I enjoyed it, and I can definitely watch it again. Yeah, it was funny. You know, I needed a little more from it. It was almost a good watch, but I needed a little more from it. But catch on streaming though.
Let me see. It's a classic good one. Catch on. All right, let's say I'm catching this on streaming. I'm gonna go with you. And if we would, and this is just on a general movie scale, if I compare this to every movie, if we were to put this on a scale of like hood movies, where like
it's a classic,
like it would definitely be a classic hood movie.
Absolutely.
If you got a spades game going on at the crib, this definitely needs to be on in the background. If you in the house bored as hell and y'all smoking some weed or y'all drinking, you need to watch this. Like the more inebriated you are watching this, the more you're gonna laugh. And I think this requires a second viewing only because this is another thing that made the movie good to me. It's like there's little jokes or little things said at the end of scenes, or like niggas will be having an argument and then somebody will just say something in the background or in the corner that'd be like a little joke or something. And I don't know what the fuck that nigga said. Yo, and I had to run that bitch back and this shit had me dying. I'd be like, yo, yo, that was some good fucking comedy going on in that joint. And shout out to them for that. I think that, yo, I feel like this director has a lot of promise. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is not the first thing he's directed. He's actually done like a horror film. I think he's done like different types. I think he's done like a love relationship film. I know he's done a horror movie, and like all of the trailers that I've seen have looked super interesting. And like, you know, even so when I'm seeing Check Please, I was like, wow, like this shows the ability to do diversity. You know what I'm saying? And you can see the skill just in how it's shot and everything that was put together. So shout out to that gentleman. And I apologize if I don't have your name. It's not personal. We just, you know, getting in and getting this out. But shout out to y'all, man. Great job.
That's what's up.